Greetings. So, how does your thoughts work? Well, it's simple. You have something called a brain. That's what holds everything. That's what makes every decision. But you got something called a mind. That's how you do it. That's how you make your decisions. I make my decisions based on my mind, I believe. And you thoughts. You're not allowed to think. You have a thought. So you are thinking. These thoughts live. Thoughts live inside of your head. But inside of your head, you have a brain. But you have a mind. But your thoughts live in your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is everything that you ever seen, smelled, touched, tasted, or heard. All of your emotions and more. Now and it's just there. You act or is accessed by something that reminds you of what you heard, what you touched, or what you tasted. And you're able to now you're thinking that because you're reminded of it. So it comes out of conscious mind. Conscious mind is what you're really thinking on. Your subconscious mind holds your thoughts, and your conscious mind holds what you're thinking on, the thoughts that you're thinking on. So if you're currently able to look at somebody with a white on, and you say, and you're thinking the color white, consciously you have that in your day life. You know, is times out of 10 you are always thinking about the things that you're using. All right, so that's how it is. So your brain holds everything. All right, so what is a thought? A thought can be a word or an action. It's just and that's all it is. So your thought can be either a positive word, negative word, or action. That's what a thought is. So so and that's it. But you cannot think about anything unless you have a thought, unless you have some type of word or some type of action. And people know that. People know that. How many words and actions do you actually have at 11 years old? Just be all the way honest. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You got 11 years only. How many thoughts can you have at 11 years old? Not that. All right, so in your conscious mind. Now, so Mike Livingston, Donald Trump, Phoebe Gates, Jennifer Gates, Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, Barack Obama, Joe Biden kidnaps Aaron from Carquinez Middle School in Crockett, California in 19 at 11 years old. Which is also Tokyo, Japan, the Prime Minister's office, and the Tabernacle and the Tabernacle God, all of the churches and all of the synagogues in Japan, and all of the churches and synagogues in all of the other countries too. All right, so so they take him to a commercial property. Like let's say agricultural real estate is just land. Residential real estate is like houses, and commercial estate businesses, government buildings, libraries, buy stuff out, or people just stay there. So they're just kidnapped to a 5-story home, and a 5-story home. They're only allowing the victim to thoughts that are extent of operandi, their motive of operation, what they're trying to do is in the generation of cool organized. And so thoughts that came through their ski mask. They wore ski masks and they talked through the ski mask. The ski mask system they established in their influence corp organized crime departments, their entertainment department, their book department, their music department, and so their game department. All of these different things they established the deposit system. Television shows were used as deposits for the ransom. Actual tapes, actual CDs of music was used as the deposit for ransom. Actual books that was authored was used for deposits for ransom. Actual radio programs were used for deposits for ransom. Actual games were used for deposits for ransom. You got TV, radio, book, movie, magazine, newspapers, games were used, all right, for deposits. Now, inside of the hostage takeover location, he had a bunch of ransomers, and they were all ransomers. But since he wore gloves, he tried to make it appear as though he was running an legitimate business. So half of the ransomers appeared to be good guys, while the other half of the ransomers were known bad guys. So the people who were walking around as the business owners were known bad guys. And then the people who were there as victims were the known good guys, but they weren't there as victims. They were there establishing the ransom. All right, so all they had to do was establish your thoughts. So if they wanted you to be tied up, they can hold you for a certain amount of time. Then that's the thoughts they had to establish. So if they're establishing theft, then those are the thoughts that you get. Only theft thoughts. Only thoughts of words and actions for theft. If they're establishing pimping and prostitution, then those are only the thoughts that you're allowed to get. You're only allowed to get words and actions that are consistent with pimping and prostitution. If they're establishing grand theft auto, then those are the thoughts that you're allowed to get. And only those thoughts are you allowed to get. You're only allowed to get words and actions that are consistent with grand theft auto. They're establishing deals, they're allowed to get consistent with drug deals. Only words and actions that are consistent with drug deals. If they're establishing drug possession, then you need and actions that are with drug possession. Just words and actions that are consistent with drug possession or nothing else. If they're establishing sex, then you're only able to get thoughts that are consistent with sex. You're only the words and actions which are consistent with sex. And that's the only thing that they did. So you're sitting inside of an actual cement makeshift. They made it out of cement. I mean, literally the whole building was cement. The little thing that you lay on, like a bed, it's like 3 feet off the ground, and it's completely cement. The walls are completely cement. You're in like these are the sizes of them. It's a 2x5. One of them, you got a 4x8, a 5x8, you got a 6x9, and these are your living conditions. And that's it. So, and it's made out of complete cement. So you're in there at 11 years old, and he's giving you all of these books. He's giving you all of these TV shows. He's giving you all of these movies. He's giving you all of these magazines. He's giving you all of these newspapers. And he's giving you all of these television shows. He's giving you all of these games as deposits for your thoughts, for his ransom. Now, the good guys are supposed to be the people who are kidnapped too. But they're there because they've done something wrong. And they're the fee managers. They're the ones that are managing the account. They're making sure that once you get those deposits through TV, radio, book, movie, magazines, newspapers, and games, that you're able to think on that and to make sure that you can pay the ransom. They give you something called a property prop. And so these physical properties is what they're using to make sure that you can pay the ransom. And then they gotta beat you, then they gotta rape you, then they gotta torture you, they gotta starve you, they gotta isolate you and force you to create something of value. You gotta create books, you gotta write them, your own books, you gotta create music, you gotta compose your own music, albums, 20 songs, 15, 2-3 songs, 4 or 5 songs at least. You gotta star in TV shows. Whatever they tell you to act like, you got to act like that. You got to be in movies, and you got to exercise. You got to do that. Anything that they can sell on the black market for value, you got to do that too. And then once they got it all, the whole ransom, then they can escort you with a gun to the dumping site, and then that's when they can start watching the piracy movie. So now you're inside of a TV show, you're in an actual movie, but you're in an actual dumping site too. And you have to actually do what they told you gotta do. You gotta pimp, you gotta get prostitutes, you gotta have sex, you gotta steal, you gotta steal a car, you gotta sell drugs, you gotta use drugs. You gotta drink alcohol, you gotta drink tobacco, or your mom is going to get killed. Your brother is gonna get killed. You're gonna get killed. They cut the wires, so you can't make a phone call. There's no emails, there's no internet, there's no cable, there's no regular normal TV, books and movies and newspapers and art for you, but there is. And then there's no AC/DC adapter. There's no electricity. And that's it. If you do not pay the ransom, if you do not steal, you do not do drugs, you do not use drugs, alcohol, tobacco, and you do not pimp, and you do not steal a car, then they're watching a TV show or a movie. And then you back to the hostage takeover location. This goes on for like 15 years. They're of only what you're able to think on is what they create. So let's take a look at that. Let's look at all of the deposits that they did. Let's look at that fake rope rap sheet that they use with their DNA on it. Let's look at this the ski mask that they used. Let's look at the duct tape that they used. Let's look at the blindfold at the Prime Minister's office. I turned it in to the Federal Bureau of Investigations, but I haven't heard back from them in like 12 years. So we're gonna process it at the Prime Minister's office. I want you to take a look at that, and then also tell me, what do you think? Do you think that you can think all of a sudden on a thought that's never existed? And have you ever seen an 11-year-old pimp, 11-year-old drug dealer, an 11-year-old prostitute, or 11-year-old thief, or 11-year-old driving an actual car? Talk to me.